What's up, everybody? I'm Dreka.
And I'm Major.
And welcome to Dreka Sweetz Cake and Desserts YouTube channel.
So, Dreka, tell the people what inspired you, what made you want to start doing cakes.
Well, for one, I love to bake cakes. Okay, I bake a lot for my family at home, and then initially it was like, you know how work do like potlucks. So I decided to bring a cake to work one day, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good! Like you should sell them, like
right,
for real."
Right, and I remember when I brought like 2 boxes. I think it had like 8 or 10 in the box, and one was red velvet, and the other one was Oreo, and everybody loved them, you know. Yeah, the cookies. So everybody loved those cookies. So when that happened, I think that made me want to say, you know what, man, this could be a thing right here. Like we can do this, you know.
Definitely. I mean, once I sold that first one, it skyrocketed. 3-4 orders a week. I was just like, oh my gosh. And with my work schedule,
right,
and our 2 kids,
right,
it was a lot, but
yeah.
I mean, we made it work.
And I know I pushed you a lot, and then your mom pushed you a lot to find your niche. And I think the first thing was like candles, and
I was trying so hard for a long time because he was talking to me about finding something that I like to do. My mom was saying, find your niche.
Right.
And I mean, I dabbled in candles, painting, stuff like that, and then something that I already loved to do, I started doing that, was baking cakes. Right. And then it just took off from there, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, this can work. Yeah, because, for me, I was already doing music, recording music as an artist, started out as an artist, then went to doing, becoming a producer. And, now I got this YouTube channel on YouTube, and it's called The Dog House. So all of the Georgia Bulldogs out there, y'all go subscribe to The Dog House, where we devote our time, our energy, and especially our conversations to the dogs, man. For real, I gotta promote the dogs. I gotta do that, you know what I mean? But yeah, so that's kind of how it started. And with me being a diabetic, shout out to the diabetics out there, it's kind of hard to stay away from the sugar, you know what I mean? But it be calling us, it be calling me, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but with you saying that, there are ways that we can bake cakes, cookies, or whatever kind of sweets with little to no sugar.
Yeah,
it's possible. I've had an order with little sugar.
And what was it?
It was I
think I remember you saying something about that.
It was a German chocolate cake.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't as sweet. They just said not as much sugar because his mom was kind of diabetic. So
kind of diabetic.
Well,
was she pre-diabetic or?
She not fully.
Oh, so she pre-diabetic.
She just didn't want it to spike.
Yeah, well, that's what make it so hard, man. Because as a diabetic, if you paying attention, to your foods and things like that, that even if you do without sugar, the bread breaks down into sugar, so that makes it very difficult. So the ones that's diabetics out there, if you do have some, you might just want to have a small portion,
just a little bit. Don't overdo it.
Yeah, don't overdo it. It's hard though. So that's why the doctors tell you to stay away from it, because it's so addictive. So it's just like telling a person to like a person that do drugs, like you got to stay away from it fully, because the minute you take a bite, not for me, for a person like me, I believe I became a diabetic in 2017. I think I remember 2018. So it's been a while for me, and I kind of learned how to stay away from certain things, like candy. I don't do candy a lot. I cut that out a lot. Cakes and pies and all of that stuff also. So it's a lot of stuff that we usually have in our cabinets that I used to go hard on, but nowadays, I kind of leave it to the kids. So it's your best bet if you're addictive type of person, or if you get addicted to that stuff, you might just want to kind of stay away from it completely. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then with our kids, with them having such a limited palate, they love sweets so much. And then with you being diabetic, we don't want them to kind of fall into that as well. So we kind of try to limit them as well.
Yeah, because it is hereditary, because, my dad had it, and My granddad had it. I got uncles in my family that had it. One of them blind. I don't know if he got it, if he blind because of it, but that's one of the things that can happen. Like, you can get limbs cut off or either go blind. So, shout out to the diabetics, man. I, hope everybody out there stay healthy, dealing with that, because it's a lot.
And with the kids being disabled or special needs, you know how hard that would be to kind of like give them insulin every day. So that would be kind of hard. So you have to try to prevent.
Because it's hard as an adult to do it every single day, to take the shot, take the pill, you know what I mean? Whatever your doctor prescribe you to do, it's very hard and expensive. And those who diabetic know it's very expensive to really, have to go get that stuff. And then with 2 or 3 people in the household with it, man, that's super expensive. I've already handled the situation, but I was in the process of talking to my doctor about, hey, can we find something that can level out my sugar without me having to spend. I remember one time I went to the drug store, it was like $300 and something for everything that she prescribed me. So I had to tell him, like, nah, I just give me whatever I need to keep my sugar low, but I don't need these extra stuff, you know what I mean? So but anyway, on to the next topic.
So as far as this journey we got going on with Dreka Sweetz, our next step would be to move to Charlotte and expand out there. Just something small, like a little Subway, little small, like a like a coffee
mom
shop,
and pops,
exactly,
or something like that.
Something like that. We were trying to open up, but we're gonna start marketing.
Boots on the ground.
Yes, exactly, and then try to
I
go.
Ain't talking about the song either.
Try to go to like different events and do like pop-ups and just try to network, just to get the name out there.
Because even though we're gonna have a social media presence, we still want our boots on the ground. You know what I'm saying? And be able to meet people and talk to people and basically network with different people. So we've been traveling out to Charlotte a lot, and we had a couple of different choices, but we just chose Charlotte. It's closer to where we live now here in Columbia, South Carolina. So we just felt like Charlotte is a progressive city, and it's inspiring when you go, especially coming from living here to going there. It's just very inspiring to see the different developments, building and stuff like that. And that's major for me. I love to get inspired. I'm not easily influenced, but I love to be inspired. So
yeah. And then we're working now. So I mean, working for someone else is fine, it's okay, but the main goal right now is to build up for our own business. Definitely. I love what I do now. I've been doing it since 2018. I work in steel processing for the hospital, and he works for the hospital.
I work in the supply chain, logistics. So I'm a coordinator, so I do all of the ordering for the hospital, which that's going to translate over to our own company with the inventory of all of the things that we're going to be selling. So I think that's a good thing that I'm already in that field. But like you said, it's time to get our own company. Our own thing. And that's what this channel is about, just inspiring people to try to build their own, because there's nothing wrong with loving your job, but at the same time I would rather deal with the stresses of my own company versus for somebody else.
Something that you can control. You can control the environment on where you're working at. I mean, you don't want to be stressed out at work. I mean, I'm a supervisor now, and it's stressful. But I'd rather, like he said, deal with the stresses of my own company than somebody else's. So I mean,
and we gonna have bumps in the road. That's why with me, I always feel like I gotta prepare myself, even though sometimes I get a little more frustrated, than I should. But that's why sometimes it's always good to prepare yourself for the bumps in the road, just so when they do happen, you be like, damn, I knew that was gonna happen. I should have did it this way. I should have did it that way. So the first step I feel like we should start with, we will start with, is getting the LLC. That'll be the main thing. Having the copyrights to our own name and own company, and that's not necessarily the first thing. The first thing is getting to Charlotte, and that's gonna be next year, probably in
around in the summer.
In the summertime, and then once we get our get cemented in Charlotte, it may be we're gonna be boots on the ground. We're gonna be out there. We're gonna be going to those events and trying to meet different people and things like that. So we're gonna be doing that once we get there. But it's gonna be real difficult, especially with our kids. So I think sometimes I'll have to go out on my own, or you'll have to go out on your own, so that we can kind of, be hand in hand or rub shoulders with these different people
and kind of focus, so you can be able to focus. Because, like you said, with our 2 kids being special needs, it's gonna be kind of difficult to go out there together and then dealing with them. So I mean that's understandable.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
And I commend everybody out there that's dealing with special needs kids and having to try to work or either build your own company, whichever one. Is hard no matter what. So
but please do, if you do have an idea of a business or your own company, please do so, because we want to set your kids up. Well, if you have kids,
you want to set your kids up. You know that generational wealth thing, and that's a big thing for us, and it's definitely a big thing for me. Having wealth and being able to pass it down to your kids, because I think a lot of us Black Americans, that's where we lack that. Especially with some of our parents. Like with a person like me, I grew up and I didn't know anything about insurance. I didn't know anything about credit. And this is not no discredit to my parents. You know what I'm saying? It's more so that the fact that they had it tough as well, and it may have been some things that they didn't know. So I think we need to start trying to break that curse, not just us, but us as Black American people or Black people in general. We need to start breaking that curse and trying to set our kids up for success. Just like everybody else does. You know what I mean? Like you go to a Chinese restaurant, they have their kids in the back working that restaurant or whatever the case may be. So I think we need to start trying to do those same things and, hopefully have success at it,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because if you set them up early, they'll have the tools that they'll need for when they get to of age to kind of do for themselves and not be struggling at 40, 50 years old, which is nothing terrible about that. Everybody has a different path, but you don't want to start off like that.
But honestly, I don't think people should have to go through that. I think that people should get the education that they need.
Yeah.
Excuse me, y'all. I think that people should push their kids to get the education, so that once they get the education and become successful, they can pass it down. Like I said, we just got to break the curse of not getting the education and not, doing what we should be doing as parents. And, it's very tough. It's very tough, because a lot of times you want to come home and you just want to lay down, you know what I mean? Or you don't want to deal with this or deal with that, especially like for somebody like me. I'm a very private person, so I don't like being in front of the camera a lot, even though I do have a dogs channel, a Georgia Bulldogs channel. Shout out to them Georgia Bulldogs. It's called The Dog House. So anybody out there that's a Georgia Bulldog fan, y'all go subscribe to the Georgia Bulldogs channel. Like I said, it's called The Dog House, where we devote our time, our energy, and especially our conversations surrounding them Georgia Bulldogs. So yeah, y'all go do that. I had to throw that in there.
Of course. Of course. There's nothing wrong with a little promotion.
Yeah, so we Georgia Bulldog fans, you know what I mean? I kind of got her on to being a Georgia Bulldog fan, you know what I mean? So we love everything about the dogs, and we just trying to do our own little thing, trying to, like I said, build generational wealth and start this journey on this channel. And hopefully, y'all can rock out with us on this journey. We're gonna, constantly promote our business and put out content. We may not do a lot of videos per se, but it will be clips of, and sometimes we
me
will
in the kitchen doing little things. If I'm going to the store, what am I getting? What's new?
Yeah,
we're gonna be doing like reviews.
Yeah, we're gonna review them.
And stuff like that.
And I think that's cool too, to review our own stuff. I know a lot of the social media people review other people's stuff, but we're gonna be reviewing our own thing, our own cakes, and and just going in detail on what it took to make the cake, you know what I mean? So I think that'd be a good thing, just to show these people, like, you can do it, just find your niche and go out there and go for it, you know what I mean?
And yes, we're local at the moment in South Carolina. We're local, but eventually it will get we'll be doing deliveries. Okay, so we just gotta wait on that. But right now, I am local, and if you're in the surrounding areas and you want a Dreka Sweetz pastry, cake, a dessert, or whatnot, then I can come to you.
And like we on TikTok, we on Instagram, we on Facebook, and as y'all can see, we on YouTube. So there's many ways, a lot of ways to contact us if you're in our area. You know what I mean? So just give us a holler, man, if you feel like you want to have a taste of the Dreka Sweetz cakes and desserts. So anything else you want to tell them?
Price is gonna be reasonable as well. So we're not gonna hit you that hard, but
yeah, you don't want to knock people over the head.
Don't want to knock them over, but it's gonna be reasonable and within reason. So other than that, we appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Just start up, get to know us a little bit
on this journey.
On our journey for Dreka Sweetz cakes and desserts.
Yeah, man. And like I said, man, for those that are Bulldog fans, man, y'all go to the Doghouse channel on YouTube and subscribe, man. Subscribe to the Doghouse.
Like and subscribe.
And also subscribe to the Dreka Sweetz YouTube channel. Like I said, we're gonna come with a lot of content. So y'all stay tuned.
All right, bye.